What?
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to the Arwen Lewis Show. And today, my special guest is Jacob Cole. We're here talking about his music. He just played a beautiful song for us. And you can see him perform live at the Hitching Post 2 this Sunday, July 9th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Hitching Post Tasting Room in Buellton. You can find more out about Jacob at the Jacob Cole on Instagram, under Jacob Cole on Spotify, or on his website at jacobcolemusic.com. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for playing that beautiful song.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for having me.
And so you've got a 12-string acoustic. Tell me about that guitar. What kind of guitar is it? I can't see the model.
Yeah, it's a 1975 Takamine Martin lawsuit guitar. That's what they were called. They only came out for maybe a year or two before Martin sued the hell out of them. That's essentially what happened. And it's my father's guitar. He's had this since he was in college. I don't own my own acoustic. I've been lucky in finding electric guitars that I love. But acoustic guitars, every time I find one, I don't connect with it, or I get excited because I'm I'm an impulsive person, and I will buy one.
Yeah.
And then be like, damn, this isn't working for me. So I found sort of the things that I'm looking for in an acoustic guitar, which is age is the main one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care about the brand, but it's a certain neck profile that I'm looking for too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love the way that 12 strings sound. To be honest, what I'm looking for myself though is a nylon string. Those are my favorite to just write on.
Nice.
It just has something really, I don't know, it reminds me of Jimmy Buffett or something, but I love that guitar.
I could see that because I just heard you really perform for the first time too, and I could see how a nylon would be really nice with your voice because it's got that softer tone.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want like the traditional classical, or like I have it's called the Cordoba. It has like a tradition or like a acoustic steel string neck but with gut strings, which is really nice.
That sounds really nice.
And so it's easier to strum on it, right? Like less clumsy.
Sure. Yeah. The neck, if it has a steel string neck on it. I actually do like a classical neck. I guess I like bigger necks. I think that's one of those things. It feels like I have a little bit more of a foundation.
Okay.
Which when I was a kid, I used to think having a smaller neck or a thinner profile would allow for more speed or I don't know, ease of use, I suppose. But
right.
I realized that for me, I kind of have big palms, and it feels more comfortable to grip a guitar that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so and for your recordings and stuff, so some of it is electric, some of it's acoustic, and I wanted to talk about your recording process too, and who produces your music. Do you self-produce?
Yes. Let's see. So the song Easy Street, my newest track on Spotify, is produced by Scott Hirsch of his Golden Messenger, which is a bigger indie rock band. I don't believe Scott's playing with them anymore. And we played a gig a few years ago together, and we liked each other's music. He has a real like JJ Cale thing going on, and that's something I really gravitate towards. So I was immediately like, oh yeah, I love how you record records. So let's just try a track. And then I record with Gray Bear Erickson. Yeah. And we've been friends for about 8-9 years, and he's recorded me in a lot of different iterations, whether it's with Dante, who I play with, or my old sort of like power trio, which was me, my brother, and my cousin, when we were doing more of like the blues rock thing, which that is fun.
Yeah.
I do love doing that. That's another hat I like to wear, but I haven't worn it in a while. And as far as the recording stuff goes though, yeah, I have a pretty clear idea of how I want things to sound. So I do tend to, I guess, self-produce, but I mean, the idea of production or what it means to produce, I thought it used to just mean like you're the person putting the money forward or something. I didn't realize it was like the idea person, or kind of like directing things or just massaging things a certain way.
I think that's changed a little bit too.
It has.
Like it was first like, okay, well, I paid for this, so I'm the producer, which fine, but it's like who is really giving all of like the creativity to it, and that wouldn't be produced, obviously without money, but also without the creative drive as well. So it sounds like you work with like an engineer basically, and they get the sound good for you.
Yes.
And like I worked with an engineer too recently, and I co-produced an EP, and I mean, my engineer gave me a lot of really great advice that I wanted, but it was still at the end of the day. I mean, I would have given him production credit, but it was just, it worked out to kind of, like everybody got their role and so on.
Sure.
But anyway, besides that, do you do analog or digital recording or both?
I've done both.
Okay.
I prefer analog
Yeah.
tape, but it's just more expensive. And to be honest, I used to be in that more like old school camp. I'm still very old school and minimalistic. That's kind of my approach to a lot of things, but I'm less ornery about whether you need to record to tape to have that pure like analog sound. Like the reality is like Universal Audio, all of these companies, they have so many plugins that, I mean, they do the thing and they do it so well. Like if you're listening also through a streaming service, it's degrading the quality of sound anyways, automatically. You're getting a less finished product, if you will. And we've already trained our ears to hear that and base other things against that sound. So yeah, in a perfect world, analog all the way.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if it matters as much. And I don't even mean that in a cynical way. I think there's a place for it. I think there's again, I've used this word a couple of times, but there's a romance to it.
Yeah.
And if that's your sound, that's fantastic. But I'm happy to record with Logic or Pro Tools and then get a plugin that runs it through a tape machine or something, or you can get that crinkle, if that's what you're after.
Totally. And then, but even so, like, I totally agree with you. If you're listening on the computer, or whatever, through a streaming site that's coming out of your car speakers that are connected through Bluetooth, you're not going to get the same experience as if you like take the record and put it on the record player, hear that through the speakers from an analog recording.
Yeah.
But now you can transfer digital to vinyl too, so it's all it's all one big.
We have mess. In a way operation paralysis now in terms of how you record, how you market yourself, brand yourself as an artist. I mean, this is true for I think a lot of different mediums, but in music, as the consumer and as the player, the entertainer, or the artist, you there's so many options. So it's like you can choose to curate what kind of, like, do I want to be somebody that sounds like they're from 1972 in Laurel Canyon and have this sound and this look and this whole thing, and people will go to that sort of an extreme. For me, it's more of just what inspires you in the moment, make your art, and then move on from there to the next thing if you can.
Totally. And like, I mean, I think when you're just inspired, whatever has become part of your subconscious, if it is a 70s artist from Laurel Canyon, that's going to come out.
Totally.
But I think at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, I know we talked a little about your songwriting process, but it's like some people have to be really like emotionally moved, or some people can just like sit down and write a song because it's a task. Like, do you kind of travel between both of those? It's
a little bit of both, but ultimately it's more emotionally moved. And I've gotten myself, I think, into some weird situations throughout my life because it is easier for me to write from a place of experience. And that's unfortunate. I'm always trying to be better at writing more economically, but like I will try and carve out time to work on like an idea I've had sitting around for a while, and then you'll start writing something else because of how you're feeling that day.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you. And then what I was going to say as well is like, it's a little more authentic if it's coming from an emotional place. I mean, I always lie to my audience and I'm like, this sounds like a personal song, but it's definitely not about me, and it's always about me. Well, but I don't want them to know like when I'm sitting there, like it's embarrassing.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I love sharing those sort of embarrassing. That is one thing I've learned I can do is I like embarrassing myself in front of people.
Oh, well.
I like getting a laugh out of people. I think in another life I would have rather been a comedian, but I really do like. At the end of the day, I think all I'm trying to do is bring a little bit of joy to people. Life is very complicated and it's a little tough. And I think if you've been around the ringer long enough, you understand that we all need a little bit of break and a little bit of joy. So that's all I'm trying to do.
I always call music a church.
Yeah.
Or live music.
Sure.
Venues or churches. And anyway, so we're going to go out to break again here, and we're going to hear Jacob's song, The Contender. And then we'll bring you back with Unreasonable Times.